The rain poured heavily over the city as Maya pulled her worn jacket tighter around herself. Her 6-year-old son, Daniel, clung to her hand while balancing a bag of groceries she had just bought with the last money in her wallet. Life had never been easy for Maya. As a single mother, she worked 2 cleaning jobs every day, leaving before sunrise and returning long after sunset. Every dollar she earned went toward rent, food, and Daniel's school supplies. She never complained because her son's smile was worth every sacrifice. People often judged Maya before they even knew her. Some looked at her skin color and assumed she was uneducated or lazy. Others pitied her because of her old clothes and tired face. Maya ignored them. She believed kindness was stronger than prejudice. That afternoon, as they waited for the traffic light to change, a sleek black limousine slowly stopped beside them. The windows rolled down, revealing a sharply dressed elderly man with silver hair and kind but emotional eyes. His bodyguard stepped out first, making the pedestrians stare. The billionaire climbed out himself. He looked directly at Maya. His voice trembled. "I've been looking for you for 20 years. Maya blinked in confusion. "I'm sorry," she replied politely. "I think you've mistaken me for someone else." The man smiled through tears. "No," he whispered. "I could never forget your face." The crowd gathered, curious about what was happening. Cameras from nearby phones pointed toward them. "My name is Richard Bennett," the man said gently. The name meant nothing to Maya. "I don't know you." Richard nodded. "I didn't expect you to remember me." He took a slow breath. 20 years ago, I wasn't a billionaire. I was a homeless man living under the Jefferson Bridge. I had nothing. No family. No hope. I was sick, hungry, and ready to give up." Maya searched her memory. She had been only 19 years old then. Richard continued. "One freezing night, everyone walked past me. Some laughed. Others acted as if I didn't exist. But you stopped." Maya's eyes widened. A faint memory surfaced. She remembered buying 2 sandwiches with her last few dollars after work. She had noticed an elderly homeless man shaking from the cold. Without thinking, she had handed him both sandwiches and her only blanket. "You need these more than I do," she had said before walking away. She never asked his name. She never expected to see him again. Richard wiped away another tear. "You saved my life." Maya stood speechless. I barely remember. "But I remember every second," Richard replied. "The next morning, someone from a local shelter found me because I survived the night. They helped me receive medical treatment. Months later, I started working again." His eyes sparkled. "I invested every dollar I earned. I built businesses. Failed many times. Tried again. Eventually, those businesses became one of the largest logistics companies in the country." The crowd listened in complete silence. "I promised myself that if I ever succeeded, I would find the young woman who showed me kindness when nobody else cared." "For 20 years, he continued, "private investigators searched every city where I thought you might be. Records disappeared. Addresses changed. But I never stopped looking." Maya could hardly breathe. "You spent 20 years looking for me?" Richard nodded. "Because without you, I wouldn't be standing here." Daniel looked up at his mother. "Mom, you helped him?" Maya smiled softly. "I only shared what little I had." Richard knelt before Daniel. "Your mother is the richest person I've ever met." Daniel frowned. "But we don't have much money." Richard smiled warmly. "Real wealth isn't measured by money. It's measured by the size of your heart." Those words touched everyone watching. One woman quietly wiped tears from her eyes. Richard stood and reached into his coat pocket. He handed Maya a small envelope. "I want you to accept this." Maya opened it. Inside was the deed to a beautiful 3-bedroom house. She stared in disbelief. "I can't accept this." "Yes, you can," Richard replied. "You gave me everything when you had almost nothing." She shook her head. "I didn't help you expecting anything in return." "I know," Richard answered. "That's exactly why you deserve it." Before Maya could respond, Richard handed her another document. It announced a trust fund that would pay for Daniel's education through university. Maya's hands trembled. "This is too much." Richard smiled. "It still isn't enough." A week later, Richard invited Maya and Daniel to visit his company headquarters. Thousands of employees gathered in the auditorium. Richard walked onto the stage beside Maya. He pointed toward her. "Many people think success begins with money." He paused. "My success began with one act of kindness from a stranger." The audience erupted into applause. Richard announced that the company would launch a new charity called the Maya Foundation. Its mission was simple: provide food, shelter, and emergency assistance to struggling families regardless of race, religion, or background. Maya cried quietly. She never imagined her name would inspire hope for others. Months passed. Instead of living only for survival, Maya finally had time to spend evenings helping Daniel with homework, reading him bedtime stories, and volunteering at the foundation. She insisted that every family be treated with dignity. "No one should ever feel invisible," she often said. Richard admired her even more. One afternoon, while serving meals at a community center together, Daniel asked Richard a question. "Why didn't you just thank my mom and move on?" Richard smiled. "Because gratitude shouldn't end with words." He looked around the room filled with families sharing warm meals. When someone changes your life, the best thank you is changing someone else's. Daniel nodded thoughtfully. Years later, Daniel graduated from medical school using the scholarship Richard had created. Instead of choosing a high-paying private hospital, he opened a free clinic in one of the city's poorest neighborhoods. On the clinic's entrance wall hung a simple framed sentence. "One act of kindness can echo for generations." Visitors often asked where the quote came from. Daniel always smiled. "It began with my mother giving away 2 sandwiches and a blanket." The story spread across the country, inspiring millions of people to perform small acts of kindness without expecting rewards. Some donated food. Others paid school fees for children. Many simply chose to see people with compassion instead of judgment. Richard often said his fortune built buildings, but Maya's kindness built lives. And every time someone asked Maya whether she regretted giving away her last meal all those years ago, she smiled gently and answered the same way. Kindness never makes you poorer. Sometimes, you never see where it travels, but it always finds its way back through the lives it changes.